All right, let's tackle hair like a boss. So, hair is undoubtedly, every time I look at an image, it used to be one of those where I'd be like, oh my God, how am I going to make that look real? Um, I'm really excited about this tutorial though, because I wish there would have been a tutorial like this a long time ago for me. I think a lot of my composites would have been a lot more believable. um, this one I chose because it's just a simple background. This works on any background, but I did it here for the tutorial purposes to make this easier. So let's get started. Hair, how am I going to cut that out? Well, the answer is I'm not. Um, I'm going to show you how. Well, in all my years, I've learned that this is how. Once I got to the into a pro setup with some people who had been doing this professionally for a long time for magazines, this is how they did it. The source is long hair, short hair, guy's hair. It doesn't matter, girl's hair. But let's go ahead and let me show you. Let me see if I still have this up. All right. So photoshopfreebrushes.com/Photoshop hair brushes. This is where I grabbed Hairbrushes 3 by Scully 7491. These are the hairbrushes I'm going to use for this tutorial. You can grab them there. They're free. All right, so let's do this and let's make this painless. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make a copy of the background so that we can work with it and turn that one off. Let's use Photoshop's new select subject feature. Go to select and click on subject, and it will use an algorithm to closely select what it can. Now, I'm using this because everybody is so excited about this new feature. However, this is never going to select anything perfect. So you just need to understand that right away. Let's go ahead and mask this with a quick mask. Let's select it down here. We'll click, and that masked it out. So we'll go down and let's underneath this layer make another layer, and let's color it with like let's go gray so that we can see what's happening, and let's just fill that layer. So you can see it does not make a perfect selection. It does do a good job coming close. You can refine this edge, but you'll never get a perfect selection. So what we do is, now that it's masked, we're going to click on the mask so that it's selected here. That's automatically going to make our colors go to black and white, which is what we want. When you paint with black, it's going to remove. So we want to mask out. Let's grab a regular brush. We're going to mask out. Make the brush smaller. I'm using the bracket keys. We don't want this. So let's just go ahead and get rid of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get the majority of it gone. And we're going to come back in later and we are going to fix it. And I know I'm cutting out a lot of hair, but trust me, this is what you got to do. You might even cut off more. It just depends. Now I'm not going to go in this area here yet because it gets a little close to her body, so I don't want to mess that up. All right, and let's just get that like that. Make that a little bigger and get rid of the rest. Okay. Clean this up. And you can do that however you want. You can erase it. I like to mask it in case I need to go back. I need some more later. All right, that looks pretty good. Now you're thinking, what in the world? How's he going to make this work? So let's, you know what? Let's go. I can't stand leaving this undone. So let's go ahead and get this little area here. And let's use the pen tool just to get around her because I want to make sure that it's right. And we'll just get rid of all that. And let's click over here on paths and make it a selection. I like to do a 0.5 feather radius, so it's not absolutely perfect because nothing has an absolute perfect sharp line that's on a human. Oops. We'll delete that. On the mask, actually we won't, we'll mask it out. So we will paint that black. And that masks it out. And then now we can just make our brush a little bit smaller and get rid of that white right there. Dot that out. Get rid of that. We don't want any of that white. Okay, let's get rid of that too. Let's get rid of that too. Come in here with hair. Okay. Now, let's start at the bottom. So once you load those hair brushes, we'll go to our brushes, and we'll go down to where I have those brushes loaded, which is right here. Let's just grab, let's start with like, that's a good one for the bottom, I think. Okay, so you're going to go to your gray layer and make a new layer above it, but below the main image. Now, if we just were to select, let's just select like black for now, just so I can show you, and just paint. It's going to make hair, but it's the wrong direction. So there's two ways to do it. You can just twist that around with transforming the layer, or you can do it right here, which makes the brush turn. See how that does that? Yeah. The more I turn it, the more the brush turns. So I can make the brush do what I want. So I want it to be that for the bottom. So that would work good. So let's Command Z and undo that because it's black. We don't want it black. You just want to get it pretty close for now, and then we'll color it in just a second. So to get it close for now, let's just eyedropper that color to make sure. Let's go like back here. If you're on your brush and you hold down Option key on a Mac, you can just eyedropper right from there. I want to get like somewhere around in here, not so black, but like maybe that right there, and see what that does, and then I'll just paint. That's too light, so Command Z it. Let's go a little darker. That's a lot better. Okay, I like that. We'll leave that. Now on each one of these, I'm going to do it on a different layer because I want to have control of it for now. So let's do another layer. Let's pick another brush. Let's try this one. And let's get it positioned properly. Too much. So we go back. Maybe a little more. No, I just want it for the corner right there. That's really good. Let's do one more layer. Let's pick another brush. Let's try that one. Alright, that's going to be some curly curls. So let's move it around. Maybe a little bit bigger. I like that. Let's do it down here though. So we get that curl to match up with that. That's good. And let's do one more. And let's pick one more brush. I don't think I've used this one. Let's try this one. A little bit bigger. Almost. Maybe a little bit smaller and tilted more. There. Yes, I like that. Needs a little something else though. So let's twist it. And let's see what happens if too much. Oh, and see that last brush, less we need to erase, it had a little overspray. So let's go back to our brush, and let's see about there. That's good, I like that. It put some strands up there though that I want to see what it's doing. Yeah, I don't like those, so let's get rid of that. Let's erase those. Keep the little bitty ones. Like that. And let's get down here and erase some of those. Alright, I like that. That looks believable to me. These are under layers, don't forget. They're not the top final layer. This one looks funky. Let's erase a little bit on that one. Command click it. Let's see, which one is that? It's here. So let's just do that. Maybe. And I think we're just going to have to cover that up with another brush. Stay on that layer. Let's just grab another hair brush here. Let's make it small so we can see it. Let's fit it into place by turning it. That's not the brush we want. We want something like this. Yeah. Let's turn it. Yeah. Alright, now let's zoom out here so we can see what we're doing. And yeah, that needs to be fixed. Let's turn it a little bit more. Grab another brush. I think this is weird. Didn't like that. That's cool. Alright, now let's go one more layer. Now zoom out. Let's grab one more brush. Let's see if, where's that long one? There it is. Okay. Let's turn it. A bit like this. Yeah. And I want to make this one really big, so let's go like this. And we're just going to go right down here and pop that like right there. And let's grab one more brush. Let's go like this. And let's make it bigger. And just pop that in. Now, let's just say that we're going to leave that the way it is, right? Let's try one more. No, I like it like that. So we're going to take this hair now, and we're going to go up to the main layer, not the mask, but the layer. Go to our clone stamp, and let's just clone, hold down Alt, and select like a light spot like right there, with a brush about that big. Let's go back to this hair layer here that's at the top, and let's just lightly pop it. Oops. Command Z that. You need to lock the transparency on the layer of the hair, and just dot it, and you'll see it adds a little highlight where the highlight on the clone stamp was, and that'll just help it blend a little bit better. with her hair. Now we're going to go down to this layer. Got to find that curl. There it is. Let's put a little highlight right there. Oops, we forgot. Command Z that. Always lock the transparency on it so that you can paint on it. And now we're going to need to clone again. So we go back up here. Let's clone from like right there. And let's go back down to this hair. It's still locked. And just tap right there. Let's tap right there. Let's tap right there. Maybe right there. And maybe where's that hair? This hair. There it is. Okay. So let's clone one more time in a light spot, like up here. And let's make sure that it is locked. It is. And let's just add a little highlight in here. And let's do it on this one. Not there. Let's go in a little more. There we go. There we go. And then maybe right there. And maybe right there. Okay, and then now let's go back to this one. Yeah, this one. Let's lock the transparency. Go up to the main image. Let's clone right about there where it's coming out. Let's go back to that hair. And let's give it a little pop there. And maybe right down in there. Yeah. And then maybe right there. Okay, now let's go down to the bottom one. And let's go back. Click just to highlight it. Then you click back on the main image. And let's grab like this highlight here. And let's go back to the bottom one. Lock the transparency. And let's just don't want it to be exact. We want it like that with a little white mark. So let's go back and clone a different spot. Let's clone like right there. And then go back down to it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Okay. So now that we have that, let's take all of those and group them. And there we have the hair that's underneath. And now we're going to do one more little thing. Let's go on top. Let's grab the brush. Let's grab like let's just do that right there anywhere you want, and then we'll erase this little edge right here because I don't like it. Okay. Now we're going to free transform this one, and we're just going to go like that and like that. And like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to lock the transparency, and we're going to take the eyedropper and we're going to sample from the main image that light color that she has on there, maybe right before that light color. Okay. Go back to the top layer here that you just created with the hair. And on top of that layer, let's go ahead and make a new layer. Control click on it and make it a clipping mask. Now let's keep it on the hair layer, and let's just make it a little bit bigger here. And let's turn the blending mode to, let's try soft light first. And that's making it darker. So let's go with a really light color. Let's just guess and say something like that. Almost. So soft light's not doing it. Let's try screen. Okay, that's going to do it, but it's going to be bright. So just, we'll tap like right there. Let's make this bigger. Okay, and then we'll turn the opacity down a little bit. The screen's not working for me either. Let's try color. That's going to make it darker. Soft light should have worked. All right, let's just keep it on the screen. Let's keep it. And now you're going to take an eraser, and we're just going to feather it out. Get rid of some of this. Not a lot, but go back to the original hair layer, undo the lock, get rid of it off of her face. We'll get rid of a little bit of that right there because you want to keep what she naturally had. And we're just trying to blend in the original. There's no hair there. Now take the opacity of that and we'll just dab a little bit to blend that in a little bit better, just like that. And we will do that same thing. Let's see. Go ahead and we'll select those two layers and we'll Command E to merge them. So that is a done deal now. And let's take the opacity down just a little bit because all we want it to do is kind of like blend it. There we go, to about 79, 75, 78, whatever you want. And let's see. You know, I mean, other than a few little spots, that's going to be believable. See, this had a little bad area right there for the hairbrush, and this little curl right here was kind of not in the brush very well, so that's what we'd need to fix. Let's see, which one was that? That's this one. So all we'd need to do is take this hair, go to the Move tool, and let's just use the arrow keys and move it in a little bit. And then go to the Eraser tool, and let's just get rid of that little spot that's no good. Command Z, it is locked, so you have to unlock it. And make sure our opacity is at 100. And let's just get rid of that. And then, what is that? That is something on top of it. There it is. Oh, that's that hair. Okay. And then we can move that hair in as well. Just so it kind of lines up and gives it that outer edge. There we go. And there's a bunch of different hairbrushes that you can get. But this would be pretty close. It's pretty close. Let's try to put, let's see. Let's go find a city background really quick. And that'll work, whatever, for now. It's tiny though. There we go. And let's just use that. Let's drag that in. frizzy area. All right, so let's take this group, let's duplicate it, and see how it darkened it up a little bit? That might be a little bit too dark, so what we do is we take the opacity down just a little bit. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's some more blending that you could do here with the hairbrush and here. And the way that I would do that would, I would take another little hairbrush on top. So I would just put another layer. I would grab the brush, make it a little bit smaller. And now what you're worried about is just the outside edges. You're going to erase the inside. So you get a brush that you like the outside of it. Let's see. Let's try this one. So I would just dab and then twist it myself, put it into position. Let's bring it up on top. Oh, we gotta apply it first. Let's apply it. Let's bring it on top. And if I needed to put it like right there to blend in that little curl, then I would do something like that, and then erase the stuff that I didn't need, etc., etc. And maybe I'm just using it for that curl to be a little highlight, right? And that's how that would be a highlight. And from there, I would go Image, Adjustment. I'd go to Levels, move it so I could see it, and I would just start moving this around to see what it does, and kind of get it to where it matched, as close as we could to her hair color. That's pretty close. Hit OK, and then you go Image, Adjustments. Let's do a color balance. Now the color balance, we're going to use our midtones, and I want to get some of the yellows out of it, so let's put some more reds in it, and maybe some more magentas. No, less. About there. And let's get some of that yellow out. There we go. And now let's go to the shadows. Let's just go to the yellow and blue slider, and just enough. Put some more red. And about there. Let's go to the highlights. And now here we want a little yellow. A little red. All right. And then you can lock it. You can go and grab a normal brush. Let's do that. Make it a little bit smaller. You can hold down Option and sample that close sample there. And with this transparency kind of locked, well, we would want to sample from here. And then with the transparency locked, you would just kind of dab in a little area there, and like right there, just to give it a highlight, and then maybe one more lighter. So let's lighten it up right there, maybe like that. And then you would just on the edge, and just on the edge right there to give it a little highlight. Like that one. Let's do that. Not too much. That's down. That works. That works. That works. And now maybe we want to go a little bit darker. So I would sample a darker color, and I would just dab it here, and maybe here, and where that comes in. So see, that kind of blends a little bit better. And you can do that throughout, and that'll help get more of a realistic blend effect that actually looks real because it's a real hairbrush. So that's kind of how you do the hair and keep it so that you can still see through the background and have people kind of wonder, how did he cut out that hair? This, again, like I said, we could go on for about another hour here just doing each one of those individual strands, but this tutorial was just to show you how you remove hair and kind of comp it back in to make it believable to what you originally had. So if we took what we've got here and we turned off the city and we did all of this in a group and we turned it off, there's the original girl and there's our hair. So we could have gone longer. We could have put these in a different place. This is, again, just for tutorial purposes. There are a bunch of different hair brushes that you can get. I suggest you get a ton of them. This is just the one that I chose because it had some of the curly hair strands. And again, you know, you could sit here and we could really fine tune this. But again, it was just for tutorial purposes. I think you guys get the point. But yeah, that's how you kind of tackle hair. And hope you guys enjoyed it, and good luck with the hair.